something the entire sports world has had their eye on is what's going on with New York and the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. This is something that's going to go across the NHL and NBA playoffs as we get ready for the playoffs in those two sports. And of course, we are so close to opening day. And the big thing in what I think most sports fans are trying to wrap their heads around are a lot of good Canadian teams and a lot of good New York teams are in play for all these scenarios. New York Mayor Eric Adams will lift the city's COVID-19 vaccine mandate on athletes Thursday. You're here on the Sports Cubicle. It's Paul Chivari. It's Devin Tingle. I'm Mike Mercado. We are trying to make some sense out of this as paving the way for Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving with this new mandate coming out to play at Barclays Center on Sunday when you hear this episode for unvaccinated New York Yankees and Mets players to play in their April home openers. Sources familiar with the situation told national media this past Wednesday. Now, Paulie, this is something that we've heard about. Aaron Judge was under the microscope. Obviously, Kyrie Irving has been under the microscope. A bunch of different players have been under said microscope, but we know now that the vaccine mandate will be lifted in New York. Your thoughts as the Yankees, the Mets, the Nets all have to go to Toronto, all have to be in playoff scenarios. What are your thoughts when you hear this breakdown in the sports world?
Well, I wish this would have happened a few months earlier so that Kyrie Irving would have helped my fantasy basketball team. But all kidding aside, I'm glad that New York had a vaccine mandate. I think Kyrie Irving's argument didn't hold much water. I think that the timing is perfect for the Nets. They are going to qualify for the playoffs, and now they're going to have their star player being able to play at home. And I think it was kind of telling that Eric Adams did this in front of Citi Field where the Mets play, because the baseball season is just starting up right now. And I'm not sure exactly, I don't know the specifics of it, if that would have affected baseball or not, because whether or not it would have affected football and how that affected the Jets or the Giants. But I'm wondering if this is just a political move by Eric Adams. The timing is right in the sense that there aren't a lot of COVID cases compared to the winter when the Omicron surge just skyrocketed daily new cases. But this was Mayor Bill de Blasio's, the former mayor, his mandate. So I think it might be a political gain by Eric Adams to do this at the right time, because it helps the Nets and it helps the Yankees and it helps the Mets going forward.
Is it still worrisome for somebody like you, who obviously the Toronto Raptors, not really a favorite to do a lot of damage in the NBA playoffs, but still a team that's won a championship, can make some noise, but then the Toronto Blue Jays, and that being a team in baseball where you have to play them a lot, does it still you still have your eye on how Canada is going to respond to vaccine mandates in the sports world?
It's definitely something to keep an eye on, but I think in the grander picture is everyone needs to, we've seen lulls in COVID cases. Doesn't mean that there's nothing around the corner. And I'm not trying to say we should live in fear, but we should definitely keep our eyes focused on, will there be another surge? I'm hearing about there's, a variant off of Omicron that's starting to creep up in various places around the world. COVID hasn't gone away. So just because the vaccine mandate is lifted right now doesn't mean we won't see another mandate or another surge. So I think that's something everyone's got to pay attention to. And it's, we're already 2 years into this. So everyone knows the story now. Everyone knows the, efficiency of the vaccine, or, knows the masks and how those are beneficial, and everyone's taking their sides on what they think about it. But I just think that, and you're seeing a lot of people spiking the football all over the place, whether it's, New York Mayor Eric Adams, or just some of the restrictions getting lifted, around the world and around the United States. And until I see that, COVID's positivity rate is so minuscule that we don't need to worry about it anymore, I'm going to be concerned about this.
Devin, you hear all this, your thoughts on the vaccine mandate being lifted in New York?
It's an election year. I've been saying that for a while now. It's definitely the right time. We get rid of it, the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates early enough. And yeah, it is partially that numbers are going down. I am with Paul here. Yeah, we shouldn't be living in fear, but we should be careful. And there is that new mutation coming out here. But, we got in 2020, Dr. Fauci said, he predicted, I should say, most likely by 2023, we could make COVID, if we do follow all the steps right, we can eliminate altogether. but we all got people that are too stupid to put two and two together that are going to trust Joe Schmo on Twitter over a guy who devoted his life to science. Crazy concept. I don't know. Go figure. But definitely it's going to be something interesting here. And if, we saw with, Omicron, Chicago Bulls, I think that entire team at one point, throughout the season, all of them, caught it. So, I mean, in the sport, something like baseball, I think it's a little bit different because it's a little bit easier to keep your distance as opposed to games like basketball, hockey, football. So it might not spread as much, but definitely, at least some sort of vaccine mandate. And, Canada's a different country. They can do whatever the hell they want, and just like America can do whatever the hell they want here. And the league can try to intervene, and the leagues, I should say, can try to intervene. But at the end of the day, it's like we're kind of at this point here where we know what it's going to be here. Too many people are just like, I don't care if I get it, I get it. And if it gets to someone else and they die, well, they're not me. And that's just some selfish BS there. So whatever. Yeah. Don't live in fear, obviously, but we should still kind of be cautious here. And I don't see that right now. And I'm like, we're going to be back to square one sooner than later.
Let us know your thoughts too. Do you think now that the Brooklyn Nets are a legitimate title contender now that Kyrie can play? Do they have to get out of that play-in position? What do you think about the vaccine mandate being lifted? We want to know your thoughts. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. It's Devin Tingle. It's Dan Marver. It's Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado.